how many times will they come by your property in that 24 hours? It's a big area. I mean, how much?
They can time you,
And
and they know how much time it, all they have to do is go, okay, you can buy, and now we have a half an hour.
That's the statistics that we're going to need to take door to door.
And this stuff you can go door to door.
Yeah.
These are all good
And
questions.
I will help go door to door.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Let's do it, but let's not go, we're like,
You ain't far ahead of ourselves.
first we need to know if everybody's going to be on board with this. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you tell me they're going to be two patrols, 24/7, with a gun. Here's what they can do. Here's what they can't do. There's no guarantee, period. No guarantee at all.
Yeah. But just to know if they would say yes or no.
$15 a month.
Yeah.
These are things you need to put out. Then let's go for the next step.
yeah, they need to know the latitude of what their responsibilities are, because if you don't have that in your hand to hand somebody who's gonna have all these questions, when you go to talk to them, you're at a loss immediately, because I don't know if they can even move a homeless person. I don't know if they can follow them. I don't know if they follow them and then call the police to come do something about it. I don't even know if anything can be done.
Well, those questions were addressed last meeting with the officer and the
homeless,
patrol.
but that is something, and I'm glad you brought that up, thank you, because that is something that I did want to bring up. There's been a lot of increase in homeless in our area. It's been a lot. I just saw on the Nextdoor app, somebody actually got chased by one where they tried to hit him and his son, and that was kind of dramatic. It's hard because it's kind of a twofold thing. For me, where I stand on that is, what can we do as a community to help make an impact to where we're helping the people that want to get off the street off of the street? I think that needs to be addressed. Unfortunately, moving them along, we move them along, they're going to end up at University Parkway. And I know I don't feel comfortable shopping sometimes at Ralph's as it is. So it doesn't really help to move them out of Verdemont, they're just going to go right down the street. So I did see, and this isn't something that we have to wait for an improvement district for. I saw improvement districts, those where I got it from, actually formulating a homeless strategic plan for their specific community. It did involve their private patrol, where their private patrol had specific instructions on how to handle the homeless. Many of it did, they make contact with them. A lot of how nonprofits handle it, but they also did pull in the nonprofits. They worked with organizations to come out and do kind of like an outreach, talking to the homeless, getting their names, giving them resources, and encouraging them to get off the street. I personally have reached out to Generations Church that's on the corner. I also reached out to the Way Outreach Church, and then I also reached out to Cal State San Bernardino, because a lot's going on University Parkway. And so I reached out, I'm still waiting on a call from the executive director of something, I forget his title, but to see what we as a community can do. Maybe there's some kind of partnership that we can make with these different organizations, formulate a plan within our community to try to make an impact and get people off the streets and out of our bushes and parks and whatever the case may be. Any suggestions, ideas? I'm sorry?
Stop giving them money.
That is the biggest thing. When I talk
Feed them, they're
to,
gonna keep on coming.
I also did talk to the city about having signs that just say that, instead of supporting panhandling, give to local churches and charities. The city is taking it to their legal team for review. Unfortunately, there's a lot of legalities that come with the city's standpoint of how they can address the homeless, what they can and cannot say, because they could get sued. I know Seattle has already been sued by homeless people, and the homeless people won.
I thought 7-Eleven put up a sign saying that they
did.
Did it make a difference? I mean,
I've heard that it has. I've heard
well,
that
maybe
it
we
has.
should, tell the rest of the businesses, hey.
I've actually, again, if anyone wants to contribute and join in, please jump in. We need volunteers, we need help.
Wait a minute, you're saying that a business can put a sign?
Yes.
Without a private business?
Yes.
Correct.
Do not include panhandlers.
Right.
The city cannot post signs on city property?
The city is looking into posting the signs on city property. What they're doing right now is just reviewing the language, how they're communicating it.
For ours out there in that corner is the Arco. Arco, I mean, they have a lot of activity there. You can see them every time you pull in. So maybe we should talk to them and say, hey.
I looked up the owner actually just the other day. A lot of, the unfortunate thing is a lot of these businesses, the actual plazas, are owned from people that are out of state and even out of the country. So for instance, who owns the Starbucks, all that is a corporation in Indiana. So I tried blowing them up, calling back to back. You can't even leave a message. I didn't get a hold of anyone. So I'm thinking of a different approaches. We might just have to work directly with the businesses that are occupying those spaces, not the actual owners of the shopping plazas. So I've already reached out to Ralph, so I'm waiting on a call back. I think that's just gonna be the way to go. Again, it's only a few of us doing this. If you wanna volunteer, please join the efforts.
I think there's plenty of opportunity for everyone who wants to make a difference to get involved, even if it's little things. I think there needs to be groups of different kinds of people for different issues, you know. Great things, you know, like what has been mentioned, you know, like a welcoming committee. Maybe also, we don't know, and this was just something that came up, we don't know where our seniors are either. I think we've seen maybe one in our neighborhood. We need to have someone who checks up on them regularly, you know, just to come together as a community. And it doesn't all have to be just focused on getting rid of problems, but also being welcoming, coming together, doing positive things, and just feeling like this is the type of place that you would dream of living in. So the homeless is an issue, and I think it's great that we don't want to just push them out of the way, but find resources for them. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, but at least we can say that we tried. And whether that's, you know, whatever that team might look like, you know, if they want to take on that task, that responsibility, be different types of individuals, to be able to talk to someone who might receive it well or might not receive it well, that would be great. But there's plenty of opportunity, plenty of groups that can be formed. Right now, it's a few ladies who are really taking their time and doing whatever they can do just to hope that we can get together to either agree or disagree, but make a difference, put things out there, and hope that, you know, everyone agrees on improving things, where we live, where we shop, where we might want to just live the rest of our lives. But there is plenty of opportunity for, and not just adults. We can get teenagers involved too. I know there's a need for the newsletter. Why not, you know, ask for teenagers who might want to be involved in newspaper. Give everyone the opportunity or job to do something where they live.
Well, the local schools, they've got community service. That can be part of the community service time.
Yeah, the home has the community services for the IDs, but you have to put in so many hours, I know.
So is Chavez Middle School.
I gotta go pick up my kid, but, all right, thank you.
I think the problem, I talked to Lieutenant Lawhead, they take them to West Valley. The problem is they cannot hold them long. And I did ask, I said, do they typically go back to the same place? And he said yes. So it is unfortunately this kind of cycle that we have to try to find a solution to break. It's not going anywhere.
Let's use this incident that happened here a couple days ago where the guy got chased on the motorcycle.
Yeah, that's what I was
Now,
talking
that's the same guy that also took it upon himself, which good, and gathered the neighborhood, and they went up there and they got rid of all this crap. Councilwoman was in on it, got dumpsters, they threw all their stuff. First off, is that land somewhere where they keep it?
Well, from what Stephen Johns had posted, unfortunately it's not, and then you guys were at the meeting, you guys heard Lieutenant Fivey say, unfortunately, what took place was illegal.
And that's the next thing. It's
No, he
illegal.
didn't say it was illegal. He said he didn't recommend it. It could be a problem for you.
I spoke with the city and they said it was illegal. They said basically you're stealing their personal property is how it
But
was.
let's get at it. Can those people be on that property? Who owns that property? Is it forest land? Is it?
From what, I don't know, I was going off of the next door app, I don't know.
There are 2 houses that have just foundations left from the fire, the old fire. Those properties are owned by someone. So the city said, stay out of there, and they're going to the property. Obviously, it's been like that since 2004. So the process of the city taking receivership of that property in order to enforce that there are no homes that is a law. And no, you don't have the right to go there.
Yeah, but then we have to know who the homeowner is.
The city knows who the assessor's office.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
Fine, that's
But
pretty
then
easy
that
to
long
do.
process of getting in touch with them.
Do you know how long that takes for the city to go through a receivership process by chance?
We're gonna go out and take care of it. Okay, then you have that whole other problem. The end result becomes the city has to take receivership of that property. If they're up on their property taxes and all of that, there's not too much, and you cannot go there.
I think the thing that I personally would like to focus on is us coming together as a community and doing what we can as a community to try to help some of these problems. As you're saying, we can't wait for receivership and things like that. Unfortunately, that's going to take way too long. What can we do to deter and keep them from setting up these encampments on these, vacant lots? Or some are not even vacant lots, but what can we do? I don't have the answer for that. Again, anyone is willing to jump in. I just started off with calling Cal State, calling the churches, seeing what we can do to come together as a community to form a plan. I think for me, that's the best thing that we can do at this point is just try.
A point
If it
that
doesn't
Kim had
work,
mentioned was that we are a university community. We have a lot of students that commute into our area, so we do need to work with the university and having them let the students be aware, not to discouraging from giving them money, the panhandlers' money. That is first and foremost.
over
Because
20,000 students, Monday through Friday, are going in and out of Cal State, and that doesn't include the faculty, the staff. A lot of traffic is going, and they are right there. They use Palm, they use University. Unfortunately, it's going to have to be more of a community effort.
So she said 2021. If we get enough people to vote on this, can we still do the private security without forming anything while we wait?
That was my first thing, is like, how can we do this? Do we do like a GoFundMe? I don't know. The thing, I guess the problem I had with that is, how do we find a way to do it where it's this equitable distribution and collection of funds? That's what's hard, if it's like, okay, if it's my whole block and we just pay for it, that's one thing, but if it's like a house here, a house there, a house there, that's really difficult,
If you did it that way, you could find your liability, if something happens, somebody got.
And that's the thing, that was one thing too that came up, was the liability aspect. The liability does not fall on us personally. That's a big thing too. When you form a nonprofit, it is a legal entity, so that takes the liability off personally. But also, one thing we did talk about in the last meeting is the type of indemnification that the patrol companies hold, and working out like an actual contract that shows they hold us harmless in the event that they use their firearm. Or not even just a firearm, it could be they tackle someone to the ground and that person says, you bruised my rib. It could be anything. So that was something that we did address in the last meeting, and for that reason, I don't want to leave my home for a criminal suing me.
The state favors criminals too much,
Yeah.
especially with the new thing that just shut down.
I tried to research angles again. I came across this, and the reason it did pique my interest because I did feel it was a way to possibly have this patrol benefiting us the greatest. That was just from my research. It was a way to equitably distribute the services, the collection of funds, also hold us to where we are not personally liable. Also, I personally liked the idea of beautification enhancements. It doesn't have to take place. We could say no, just community patrol. I don't want anything else, and I'm fine with that. I liked the doggy bags. I won't go into that, but yes, I liked the doggy bags.
Coyotes, so I don't think.
You said what?
Most of the coyotes.
On the Chestnut Trail, yeah. Yeah.
So is there something that we're specifically trying to accomplish tonight in terms of like?
Tonight was for information.
Okay.
I was hoping, of course, for a bigger turnout. The biggest thing is information. I don't want it to get to the point where we're going forward and sending out ballots to people and they're like, what the heck is this? You know, I've never heard of this community patrol. What is this? Because of course they're going to hit no, like, you know what I mean? So I've been doing these meetings to try to draw the community in so we can all get informed. Again, I don't want to continue to be the middle person, so I thought it was really cool to actually have the sources here to answer questions. But like, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, I apologize. But like Tom said, then if we can get out and reach more people so that more people are informed about this, I think the biggest thing for me is getting information so we can make a decision as a community. That's, to me, the biggest thing.
Has anybody looked into it? I don't know if legalities like a camera system.
I actually saw that. It was more business, where businesses were putting up cameras, but the thing was they streamed directly to PD. So I'm like, well, if PD is already unfortunately diluted and you can't.
I don't know. I don't think it can be done. You know, when you set up a website, there's cameras on the streets, and it's almost like an escort.
That's what they did at Santa Barbara, remember?
Well,
They had an incident up in Santa Barbara where they started putting cameras up because of the kids partying problem. And it ran to a website that was run by the community, and somebody was always checking it, and if something happened, they would roll it back, and if they kept the tape, I think, they kept it for 30 days or something like that. So you could roll it, say something happened somewhere where there's a camera, you could roll it back and take a look at that particular day around that time, and see if you could glean anything from it.
They just put it in the mailboxes now.
Well, our neighbor actually did set up a camera on our mailbox. He did. It's wired, it's live, it runs, and he set up a security light too, so when you go by, a big light goes off.
And my camera personally
It
points to
worked
our
for a
mailbox.
while. It did. It actually did deter for a while, then somebody did break in, and then they replaced it with the newer mailboxes, and it hasn't been broken into since, thank God. So I do think things like that do deter. I think that guy who ran after the guy who tried to hit him, I think it's the same guy that I approached that was going through a mailbox, and he is very aggressive. But one thing I did notice, my sister just coincidentally pulled behind him, and I yelled, "Get his license plate, take a picture!" And he he floored it. I think one thing that's common with criminals is they don't want to be caught. And one thing that Lieutenant Law had said is a lot of the homeless, unfortunately, do have criminal backgrounds. So that's why I think that they...
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mike was asking. He doesn't read the app as much as I do.
Oh, it was just yesterday or the day before that? Well, when I read it, it was yesterday. So it may have already been on the app, I don't get on every day, but I just read it yesterday, actually. So, does anyone know what I'm talking about? The guy was on his dirt bike with his son. Was that yesterday?
The day before yesterday.
The day before, okay.
He had his 12-year-old son with him.
Yes, that one. And yeah, the description for the same guy that was right at Magnolia, he was going through a neighbor's mailbox. And I didn't say anything, I actually just took my phone out and he saw me. And he, sped up and acted like he was gonna hit my car. And slammed on his brakes real quick and was like, "Are you taking a picture of me?" And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "What, are you taking a picture of me?" I was like, "Why are you going through that mailbox?" And he's like, "That's my house." And I was like, "No, it's not, I know he lives there." And he's like, "I live there." And that's when my sister came. And I was like, "He's going through the mailboxes, get his license plate." And he floored it. I mean, he was driving reckless.
He was driving reckless through the neighborhood, because I did, which I shouldn't have, but I did follow him through the neighborhood. He was speeding, going through people's driveways. He unfortunately turned into a cul-de-sac where another neighbor saw me chasing after him and yelling at him. So he got, I don't know if he was a police officer or what, he got the license plate right away and called the police as well. But I have seen him again throughout the neighborhood.
We saw him yesterday. It looked like he had crashed into another car on that road that goes along the Q-town, that cemetery.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
Frontage road?
They're
Yeah,
friends.
he was, is that what it was? Because they were like facing each other, bumping, like they were hitting. I thought maybe they crashed.
yeah.
But I mean, the main thing, we passed out flyers, is to report it. Whether you call 911, if there's homeless encampments, it needs to be reported. If you're not reporting and they're claiming they're only getting 10 calls in our neighborhood, we already know as a fact that is not accurate. The problem is we are not reporting the issues that need to be reported. If we're not letting them know about encampments, the proper steps cannot be taken to clean them up. They do, as we've discussed, have a process they need to go through, but it's not that they're going to ignore our request. It will be answered. They just have to go through the proper channels and due process in order to do so.
What I was advised is that they actually have to serve them. So let's say there's an encampment at the top of Magnolia, they go and they serve them, and they have 72 hours to clear out their belongings. Then they come back in the 72 hours. If they aren't cleared out at that point, then they can go ahead and clear the encampment.
And I know a lot of residents were involved in the cleanup. Just from me being a mother, I have young children, and I saw that there was children involved with the cleanup. There was hazardous material there. So you are risking your life, your family's
That's
life.
another thing that the city involved, yeah.
Yes.
We actually went by to take pictures, and my husband was saying it literally stunk. Like, it stunk.
You know, they have the proper equipment, the proper suits, gloves, and so forth that to handle and deal
I
and
was
dispose
really
of
excited, and I
that.
thought it was really positive, but with it, I talked to the city about it. That's one thing that they said is they find so many drug needles at those encampments, and they're saying the risk that you guys are taking is so serious. She said when they go out, they literally go out with the hazardous waste material, the suits, the whole 9 yards because of things. And it did make me think about that. The hepatitis outbreak in San Diego, there was a hepatitis outbreak in Los Angeles. I don't know. I wasn't involved in the cleanup.
Because I looked on Nextdoor and it said that they went up there to look at a car. They said it was abandoned. And the police, it was on the go request and it was closed down. It said they went up and the car was occupied, so they left. So that was kind of like, it's, so there's more to be added that hey, there's people are living here, there's trees. Honestly, I could care less but when they start fires, that's where it's like, hey, that's
After I went to the meeting, I thought that it was a positive community effort to do the cleanup, but was the sheriff,
Lieutenant Filey.
he said, I wouldn't have done that. We have the proper equipment. We need to take care of it. But, back to your question, I am now, again, it might be overkill, but if the old abandoned Church's Chicken or whatever it was, gas station right next to Denny's, I put in 3 go request apps because I don't know which one exactly it is, but I did it for an abandoned building, I did it for a homeless encampment, and I don't know what else I did. Just hoping that
What's what I mean, does the story need to be really bad to get a response?
I don't think so. I mean, it's
Because if not, it looks like this
it's
thing up
still-
here, they
yeah.
come out, and it's the same, what I saw, it's the same people. They go up, Senior, I think it is, and I've seen Bro come out of like a bad hell on her phone driving in that silver Corolla. And they live up there.
yeah, and the week that it was cleaned up, and I don't think it was me, it was probably several people, but I did the go request. I saw a girl, and it looked like a young lady initially, and she was skateboarding right down
School traffic?
the school traffic. and it was right around the time that they were gonna let out kids. As she got closer, I realized her appearance looked like she probably lived up there. And so, to me, it was getting really close to kids, and I knew that they probably were up there. So my husband and I drove up, we took pictures and sent the go request out that day, knowing that area gets cleared and then they come back. And they're smart enough to block and put private property, do not cross, wood, and all kinds of stuff, so that they're not seen.
So that's them, because I've driven around up there and I've seen those.
It's them.
Oh, no, it's theirs.
Yeah, it's them. And initially I thought, at one point in time, there was trailers, nice looking trailer, trucks, all kinds of stuff back there. They had running water. It was like a full community campsite, not a homeless campsite, like a community. So I started wondering, well, it says private property, it must be the owners. But at the same time, we don't know who owns it, what information, but I sent, back then, I think it was through next door. And I forwarded it on to whatever community agency it was through next door. Said, are they supposed to be here? Never received an answer or anything. So when we did it through the go request and it was taken down, we thought, wow, that's great, they're really getting up there. But I did express my concerns in the bottom. If they are living up there, they're coming down around the school, around our kids. So, not that they've done anything, but why would we want them to get to that point? So, anything you see, I don't care if it's overkill, I'm gonna do it for every possible thing, just so that it gets addressed. That station there is just, it's still open. So I don't know what it's gonna take for them to completely board it up, for them not to continue to break in, but the request is still open, and it's been over a week. So I'm not sure what they're doing. I'd say overkill, but whatever concerns you could possibly have in there, just so that they see. It's not just a minor concern, it's a great concern.
This can you just do a private message on next door. So just shine a big light and here's a couple, throw it to me, and then I'll throw it back. Do the same thing, so it's like you've done it, you've done it, you've done it. So you get like 5, 10 going in, so it looks like it's a concern. And it's more than one person, addressing this.
When Kim actually gave me the information to the lieutenant, and that's before I sent it on the Go Request app, I actually texted him, didn't receive a response, but it was taken down. And after it was taken down, the people weren't there, so they left. And I saw someone posted a note that said, we'll be back for our stuff, don't take. And then the community got together to.
And maybe that has to happen, right? People has to work the camera, so these people go, well, I'm there, I come back in 3 days, and I'm here.
Yeah.
They come in again. They're not gonna wanna stay, they're gonna wanna go, like the lady here was. I think they said that at the meeting, that they have a facility in San Bernardino, but there was no interest.
Because there's rules, there's guidelines.
That's what I mean, they really don't want to.
No, they
And I
don't.
can't
A
say
lot
that
of
for
people
all
don't.
of us, I feel like if you are talking to them and say, hey, is this where you're gonna be? You should, and I don't care. But they said now there's somebody in the park, right in the park, that they're begging for money there. So that's in the neighborhood.
We saw a guy sleeping in the park. We went in at night to do some glow stuff with the kids, and this guy's sitting there, I'm like, there's no kid here, who's this guy here?
At first we thought he was with
And
someone,
then he started getting
and then
this
when all the kids were gone, he
look on
was
his
just
face, and I'm like, he's trying to go, he's sleeping on the bench, and it's, he says that we're there when he's trying to sleep.
Okay, but have you been to downtown Los Angeles?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, get underneath the overpass.
Anywhere, yeah. See, he's staying where he was, that whole.
Well, I know it's running a little bit late, and I know you guys have all valid concerns. Did you guys have any questions for the city official that's here that can be addressed before he leaves? Because I know there's a lot of talk about the city, and you guys are great. Okay. So our main concern, I know you guys do seem positive about the patrol, so we do ask, if you have not already done so, to please sign the petition so that we can get this moving with the city. If you are willing to become an ambassador, meet your neighbors. It's a good opportunity to get to know your neighbors. Do some door knocking for us. We would love for you to become an ambassador and help getting more signatures so that we can go ahead and proceed with the community control or whatever other type of assets would benefit our community. So there are red clipboards that are around here. There's a couple up at the front too.
Is there anyone?
It's the
What is it?
Cleans Up what?
The quality of life team?
Yes.
The quality of life.
Is there anyone here who feels they have a question that was not answered today?
Just a really quick question. I know you're a real, oh no, you're a anybody here a
She is.
if you're in the middle of all this negotiation with the security company and all the 50% and all of that, and I go to sell my house, do I have to disclose it to the
Absolutely. If it runs with the property, which I'm sure it's an assessment, so it would.
To be honest, to me, if I was looking to buy a house and they said this community is patrolled and there's a $15 a month fee, I would be all for it. So I don't think it would be a deterrent for a seller or a
It's not
buyer.
a $15 a month fee that you're going to check in for $15. It's on your property taxes, so.
But what's $15 a month compared to security, peace of mind? That's not going to Starbucks for 1 or 2 days out of the week. Any other questions that you guys have?
Especially for Brent, I know he's been sitting here. Any questions in regards to the money, financial aspect of this that you want to address with him that he would be able to answer as far as the city is concerned? No?
You know, we all say that we got no police up here. You know, they come up whenever. You know, I think I've seen maybe 5 in a whole year, you know. But 2 of my saw were sitting in, one was like that road that runs parallel to the freeway behind Walmart.
Hallmark Parkway?
Sitting in the shade.
They were on break.
Huh?
They were on break.
Yeah, they were on break. The yellow was up on Kendall. I'm gonna go home like 8 o'clock at night. Up on Kendall.
I saw one and I got excited because there's a lot of traffic in my school and people are doing things they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, this is nowhere.
And it was someone picking up his child. So there are people who live that do that, you know.
I know, but I'm saying this is in nowhere zone they were. I mean, there's no
Not where
house.
they should be
No.
sitting in.
They should be sitting on the dirt side by a truck stop, by where the trucks park. I mean, there was no crime because I happen to know the people that was there and I was there that time, and there was no crime there. He was just sitting there hiding. So whether he's trying to do paperwork or whatever,
Yeah, I know that.
what are you doing about this? I mean, they're just gonna sit, let them do nothing instead of patrolling our neighborhood?
Well, that's a question for the police department to address.
But, again,
I wasn't
you guys
here
are-
for that,
I've been here, I've owned my house for 31 years. Okay, we had a bunch of kids, and they did it several weekends in a row, went out and shot out car windows and the house windows with a pellet gun. And finally, they got caught, and we all saw them. And we called the police, and the police, we told them what car they were in, what the description of the car was. There were 2 guys in the car. They pulled over 3 women in a car that was not matching the description, that were all in their 70s at gunpoint. And the guys that were doing it were doing donuts up the street. And we're trying to tell cops, that's not them, they're right there.
See if we had a neighborhood patrol.
Well,
But then you got
But
to
this was 25 years ago. So as far as saying that it's bad, okay? I have a baby hole through my kitchen window. Somebody in my neighborhood did it. I know who did it. Okay, but they're kids. And they did find a septic tank right over here. because they changed location and started shooting out windows up here. So it's not a matter of,
That's
you
just
know,
where
a
it
kid was
is, right?
shot right, a kid that was a basketball player at Cajon was shot 15 years ago across the street from my house. Okay, so again, you know, you've seen an escalation here, but how many shootings have we had lately?
I don't think it's
I've
hard
never
about
heard of a
shootings.
shooting even 15 years ago, and I went to
Sean
Cajon.
Battles, he attended Cajon High School, destroyed his